health events. Plus, the editors of Be Well and Bakersfield Life magazines will be joining us to give us updates on what we can expect in those publications. Remember, Be Well Live every Wednesday from 10 to 11 o'clock right here on Bakersfield.com. You can also catch us on demand at BeWellMagazine.com.
Now, from the Dignity Health Studio at the Bakersfield Californian, it's time to open up with Don and Tina, your favorite pair on the air.
We really welcome you to this second edition of our program. Tina, good to see you this morning.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Don. And welcome to everyone listening and viewing.
This is, you go through life and there are things you think you ought to do, and you just keep putting them off and putting them off. And this program is something that Tina and I have thought for 5 years. We ought to give this a try together. We ought to go on the air. I've always thought that Tina is Bakersfield's Oprah, and Bakersfield needs to meet her and meet you and see what a special person you are. So that's kind of what this program is all about. And then just bringing quality people from our community on, allowing businesses to have a full 12 minutes to just talk about their products and help sponsor our program, and then talking with real people about real stuff.
Yes. So we're looking forward to our first guest, too.
Go ahead and introduce Dr. Allen.
Well, this is a friend of my husband's, a friend of so many in the community here, and this is Dr. Alan Przybylski. Did I get that correct?
Yes, you did.
It's Polish. Those can be tough.
So he's got some good news to talk to us about. Health.
We do.
Health is good.
Yes, it is.
Dr. Przybylski, you are a nutritional counselor.
That's correct.
Tell us how this whole field opened up to you, where your passion developed, what drew you into this field of helping people.
40 years ago, I was so sick I could not get out of bed and go to work. And I did not know what to do. I went to the doctors. They didn't know what to do. A person took me down to Scripps Medical Center. 3 days of testing. They said, we can't find anything wrong with you. Another person drugged me down to a naturopathic doctor. And he said, all you have to do is change your diet and take these vitamins, and praise the Lord. It just made me a new person. I'm very excited about it.
So once you experienced that drew you, then what were your next steps coming into this?
Well, my next step was I started going to the health classes. And I thought, since I learned all this new things, that everyone would want to know how to get healthy. I was so surprised when nobody wanted to get healthy. I had to talk to 100 people to get one person to trust and believe God that he does the healing. Not me. I'm just giving his message out. Today, I've got it down to 10. I've talked to 10 people to get one person to believe that God does the healing.
Now, even good physicians in the normal medical field kind of understand that they provide various skills, but really it's something else that does the healing. The body heals itself. God heals folks. You're kind of swimming against the tide here.
Not really, because you'd be amazed how many medical doctors have said, hey, this is not working. I don't want to do this anymore. All I'm doing is hurting people. And they switch to naturopathic. They have both degrees, and they do both. There's 2 types of doctors. The allopathic doctors is taught to treat symptoms with drugs. The naturopathic doctor is taught to fix the problem with food.
So is who was it? Socrates said that your best medicine is in your kitchen?
Absolutely. As long as you have good food and not the processed food.
Now tell us about your store, where you do your business and where you do your practice. That's probably the more accurate thing to say.
Yes.
We're on Stockdale Highway, 1 block west of Highway 99. And we've been there for 20 years. I've been doing this for 22 years. And people from all over the world come in. A lot of people from South America and Mexico. A lot of people from Europe come over, from all over the United States. And it's just very exciting, the ones that want to get well. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that continue to go the regular route, and they never seem to get results.
Now, are you just a critic of modern medicine, or
not at all?
Oh, tell us about that. Where do you fit in the scheme of providing health care?
Well, in the Bible, in Ezekiel 47, God says very clearly, I give you everything you need for your food and your healing. And that's what I do. I just show people what God has for them. And when they come in, I pray for them, and I write down what God tells me, and I hand them the paper and say, this is what God tells you to do. Something for you to think about.
I know that I've been to you, and you've given me things that have really helped. And I notice you have what I call the meditative moment. You know, when I come in with a certain condition, you don't just write down a prescription, or you do something unusual that I've never seen. Tell our folks about that, what you do and what's coming to you when you do it.
It's not very unusual to some people because it's called prayer. All I do is I say, okay, dear Lord, you know I don't have a clue what to do to help this person. So show me. Thank you for blessing him, and thank you for showing us. And right away, the Holy Spirit, I receive that message. I write it down. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 pages. And then I say, okay, this is what the Lord says. And if you choose to do it, he says in this many days you'll get some results. And every person that trusts the Lord and waits on the Lord, they always get those results.
So for each person, it's unique. I mean, you don't
Yes.
just give one standard. Tell
Nope.
us about that.
Every person is different.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I know my husband is one who got the word to come in and see you, and he was drinking Dr. Peppers every day, 3 or 4 times a day. And the moment he came in and sat down with you, I believe that was in December of one particular year. And since then, I mean, Dr. Pepper doesn't have a hold on his life like it used to.
Well, if people knew what they put in their foods, they would not touch them. And that's what we teach, good food, bad food. I'm a certified nutritionist, and if I fed everybody in Bakersfield, all the doctors in Bakersfield would have to find a new career. The food in Bakersfield, unfortunately, is not the healthiest. So we have to find the stores that do carry the healthiest. And then we have recipes. We teach people how to cook. Sometimes we'll even go to their homes and show them how to fix things. Once they see it, it's so simple. And they say, oh my gosh, I can do this. And then right away they start getting well.
Now, medicine is a field that's constantly changing. Is your field constantly changing? Are you constantly learning? Are there ways that you keep updating your knowledge? Tell us about that.
Well, God's the same yesterday and today and in the future. Nothing changes with him. With medicine, they're taught to treat the symptoms. So I don't know anything about the medical field, and all I can say is that the people that believe and trust God, they get well. The people that say, I've got to go see my doctor said, that's their choice.
So the proof is in the pudding for you. Your patients coming from all over the world really do see changes in their health.
Oh, it's just phenomenal. I get to watch all the miracles. I get to see these people come back, and they say, look, I can wear my shoes,
Wow.
and I'm going to Mexico to visit my family because I'm well. And that's not me.
Yeah.
That's the message from God.
I saw a couple of comments actually online, and the comment, the main thing was, I was seeing over and over was, they have seen their condition improve significantly, or it's just gotten better totally. And
When they believe, that's what happens. When they do what God tells them to do, eat my food. Don't eat the processed food. They get the results. It's so exciting.
Have you personally ever had to seek conventional medicine other than that first
Never.
time when they didn't do anything for you?
I have not been to the doctor in over 37 years. I'm not going. There's no reason to go. God's the only doctor we need. He's our only source. He provides the miracles. Jesus died on the cross. They're ours. He gave them to us. I've got mine. Everybody has to receive their own.
Do you ever have a seasonal cold like I'm going
Never.
through right now? You don't?
Never. Never. And you don't have a cold. You have an allergic reaction.
Ah,
And when you stop by, I'll give you some free samples.
All right.
Won't cost you anything.
I'm stopping by.
And then you're going to feel better in a couple days. Now, our clinic is free. We don't charge people to come in there. And it's just a natural alternative. When they come in, they get free information, and they can decide what they want to do.
Now, one of the things I noticed when I've been in your place of business is that it says no cell phones. And why is that? Tell us about that.
Well, on 2020, on most of the different shows on television, they have interviewed people that did studies on radiation, and the radiation coming out of cell phones does cause cancer. So we have a diode that you put on the cell phone that blocks that radiation and protects you and everybody in the area that you're in from that radiation.
I didn't know that you actually provide a diode for our cell phones.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have one on mine.
Good girl.
Thank you.
Chris McCullough, our producer. Chris, do we have a super we could put up of Dr. Problisky's
Health Unlimited.
Health Unlimited, his business? I think I sent one in.
Yes.
There it is, right behind us. Now I'm in the way. Move over there. There it is. Health Unlimited, 3899 Stockdale Highway, and that's your phone number, right, Alan?
Correct.
Yeah.
397. Go ahead.
397-3187.
Okay. We're so glad you came on. Thank you for sponsoring our program. We need to,
Yes.
In full disclosure, Dr. Problisky Dr. Allen is sponsoring this part of the program that allows us to be on the air. So we really
Yes.
appreciate
What an
you coming.
honor it's been.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Doctor.
Take us out.
Well, we hope you stay with us because we'll be back in just a moment.
And we're going to be talking about fatherhood.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Christy from the Taste of Home Cooking School, and I'm coming to your town. I'd like to bring you into the kitchen for 2 hours of cooking fun. At our cooking school show, I'll demonstrate a variety of recipes you can make at home. Your whole family will love them. You'll also get to meet with fun local vendors, taste delicious samples, and share your love of good food. So get into the mix, grab your friends, get your tickets, and come join us.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the Bi-Monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
Hey, Corey Costello here, host of Roadrunner Rundown, the official program of Bakersfield Roadrunner Athletics. Join us on Tuesday as we preview men's basketball. They got an exhibition game coming up on Saturday. We will talk about that, plus more from WAC Basketball Preview as we chat with some of the coaches from around the league. And it's Corey versus the Easton Hit Lab. That should be, that's going to be quality television. So join us Tuesday, 10 a.m. for Roadrunner Rundown right here on Bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Every morning, I get to come to work here. We talk about the news, we talk about the community, and most importantly, we have fun. You can listen to us live every morning from 7 to 10 on News Talk 1180 KERN, but you can also watch the video live at Bakersfield.com. You can't miss us because you can watch or listen live on your mobile device. Join us from 7 to 10 a.m. weekday mornings right here at News Talk 1180 KERN or at Bakersfield.com. Come have fun with us.
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back.
We're on
Thank
the air.
you. And we have with us today Ken Berman. Ken, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you for the invite.
You know, one of the things we've committed ourselves to do here on this program is to bring in real people and talk about real stuff. And Ken is a remarkable young man who has developed not just a passion for what he's going to be talking about, but almost a cause, a crusade. And it's all about fatherhood and the lack thereof in this nation and the impact that we're having. So, Ken, first of all, just give us a bit of background. You have a remarkable background. You're 28 years old.
27.
27.
Son, I'm not aging in front of your eyes.
He's a young man, and yet with a very mature outlook on life. And you've accomplished so much. First of all, just tell us about your academic background. That's remarkable in itself.
Sure. I won't spend too much time, but I went to CSUB locally. I graduated in 3 years with my bachelor's in political science. I then went to the University of Southern California, graduated in 1 year with my master's degree in communication management. Came back to Bakersfield, started my family, was the chief operations officer at Goodwill, and recently just became the CEO of Terrio Physical Therapy here locally.
Talk a little bit more about your family.
Sure. So I married my beautiful wife, Gianna. We immediately, without planning, had twins, actually. We got pregnant 3 months after we got married, had twins, a boy and a girl twin, and they were a true blessing. They were a surprise to us, but it was just a beautiful blessing. And then we have another little girl, Abigail. And so right now the twins are 4 and Abby's 2.5. So our household is quite the chaotic scene, as you could imagine, with 3 little ones running around.
So you made it here this morning, all right.
I did. I do okay. Luckily, I have my wife. She's on the home front taking care of that, and she does a great job.
Oh, great. So now your father, give us a little background on.
So really what hit me was I look around in the world, and I see, for whatever reason, it seems like the role of the father, even the concept of fatherhood, is declining in America. I grew up, I had a father that was there every single day. He never missed a baseball game, a football game, any sporting event, any academic event, both for me and my sister. He went to every dance recital. He was just a very involved, almost over-the-top father, but in a great way. Growing up for me, I think a lot of kids in America, they will form their own idol or have their own image of, especially men, young men, of somebody that they look up to. A lot of the time it's in the form of professional athletes, maybe singers, actors. For me, it was my father. I looked up to my father from day one, and growing up, I always knew that I wanted to be just like him and that I was going to be a great father to my children because that was the example I saw from him.
Ken, what did your father do that gave him the time to attend all those events?
He was for the early part of my life, he was a life insurance salesman, so he had pretty strong flexible work schedule. Then he switched to kind of a collections agent, working for a local business. He just kind of made the decision that he wasn't going to be career hungry. He had other job opportunities that came along, like a lot of us have happened, but they would require more travel, more time away from the family, more time away from home. So he made a conscious decision that he was not going to let the career get in the way of raising his children and being there every single day. So that was a big factor in his life, and that's a big factor in my life in picking my career. Same type of mentality. I don't want a job or a career where I'm gone for weeks at a time or even a lot of travel, a lot of late nights at the office, that type of thing. I want a job where I can make sure that when I'm done with work, I can go home and be with my family, be with my kids.
Have you already had to make that kind of career choice along the way?
Absolutely. Couple times now, I've had other job opportunities come along, higher paying, somewhat people would define maybe as career, a move up the ladder. But unfortunately, it just required a lot of getting on an airplane, flying to Tennessee or Texas. And me personally, I'd rather be home for dinner every night than be gone from my family weeks at a time.
And so, in reference to your career, some of the areas that you can talk about with the Goodwill industry and what you're doing with Terrio Fitness, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I definitely practice what I preach, so to speak. I have a management role in both of the jobs that I had, where I oversaw a workforce, oversaw a culture in the company. And for me, it's always important to say you have to have that work-life balance. That family, home life has to play a role. I don't want your work life to just over-dominate that. So I'm not a micromanager. I'm big on allowing people to manage their own schedules. Just for me, it's get the job done. And if you're doing your job, we don't have a problem. And if you have to go at 2 o'clock to go pick up your kid to take him to a doctor's appointment or leave work at 3 o'clock because your kid's having a tennis match at high school or whatever the case may be. I want to allow that flexibility for my employees so that they have that quality family time, and they're going to pay me back tenfold on the work that they do because every one of them appreciates that aspect. And I certainly appreciate the ability to have a flexible work schedule where I get the job done. It's not necessarily just 8 to 5, but I'm getting the job done, and I'm being able to spend quality time with my family when I need to.
Ken, what are you seeing in your generation, your peer group? How are they reacting to the challenge of fatherhood?
So this is probably what is most alarming or concerning for me. Sitting in church one day, and the topic was sort of on family units, and it was like I started to think about it. I wanted to do some research, and I have some statistics. I know statistics are boring. I'll share some more stories later, but I just have to throw out a couple statistics that I happen to find very alarming, okay? And one is the rise of out-of-wedlock births, which I think is really dictating some of this. Not all of it, but a big portion of it. And in 1940, 4 out of every 100 children born were born out of wedlock, okay? So 4 out of 100 in 1940. By 1980, the number had increased to 18 out of every 100 born out of wedlock. By 2010, the most recent statistic, 41 out of every 100 children were born out of wedlock in America. So you see this sharp increase, and it's continuing to increase every single decade. Now that results into a rise of single mothers, right? And we see it all the time. You hear single mothers is on the rise, and in 2010, the number of single mothers living in America was triple the number that it was in 1960. But you can have single mothers where a father is at least involved in that, and somewhat in the child's life. Maybe they watch them on weekends, maybe they come by now and then. So the most concerning statistic for me is what they're calling the rise of the absent father. And this is where, and the Census Bureau has a definition of exactly what that is, but it's basically a father figure is basically just not even present in the child's life. And what I like to look at is in 3 generations, this alarming rise in what they're calling the absent father. And so my dad was born in 1956, okay? When he was born, 1 out of every 10 children lived in a father-absent home. So a 1 in 10 chance that my father would have grown up without a father. By the time I was born, so the second generation in 1986, that number was now 1 out of every 5 children were born into a father-absent home, okay? By the time my son, Matthew, so the third generation in 2009 was born, that went to 1 out of 3. So currently, if you have a kid that is born in today's world or today in America, he has a 1 in 3 chance of growing up in a father-absent home, just no father figure present in his or her life. And that is just alarming to me that you see this amazing. So it's a 33% chance now. 24.7 million children are living in America right now with no father present in their life.
Ken, let me ask you, with your own children and your employees under you, do you have time, or would you say within your employees you're mentoring someone?
So that's pulling on my heart. I definitely want to get into that area. I've been in talks with the church that I attend to what can we do about this issue? Do we have small groups? Do we have mentoring? Do we have sessions? Or do we try to get fathers that are currently in the church together and try to get them to rally around the issue? There's a number of ways that we can go about to try to spread the word. Coming in on this talk show, just talking about it and opening up listeners and people's eyes to the fact, well, there is a big issue here. I mean, if this was a disease, if a disease was suddenly running rampant with children that were being born, and back in the day it was a 1 in 10 chance that your kid would catch this disease, and now today it's 1 out of 3, that would be a huge issue and people would talk about it. But it seems to me like this issue is flying under the radar. Some people kind of say, yeah, it seems like fatherhood's on the decline, but they don't really get how drastic of a decline it has been. In 3 generations, it's gone from 1 in 10 to 1 in 3. So what does that? Where's that number going to be when my son has a son?
Ken, what do you see in the culture that is encouraging this trend, fueling it?
Right. I don't see society helping the issue, and in fact, I almost see it somewhat hurting the issue. There's an example back in 2012, and this is a true case. You could look it up right now. The Cranston, Rhode Island School District banned father-daughter dances because they thought that it was the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, said it was discrimination against girls that didn't have a father in their life. So the school district took the position that, okay, we'll just ban father-daughter dances altogether. I think that is I think that's absurd. I understand political correctness, but I don't understand how, with this issue running the way that it's running, that you could say, here's a great opportunity for fathers to connect with their daughters, to be, in their life, have a fun night. You're going to be around other fathers and their daughters, and the school district just bans it. And the ACLU released a statement on it, and their exact statement was that the school district recognized that in the 21st century, public schools have no business fostering the notion that girls prefer to go to formal dances. And that concerns me. It really concerns me that they could take such an aggressive stance and now say, okay, well, we're not going to support the idea of a father taking his daughter to a dance. Right. And that's a decline, that's a shift, that's a social shift in America, in my opinion. We're starting to get further and further away from the notion of what a true traditional family even is.
We've got a lot to talk about on that issue, so let's just take a break right now, and we'll come back. We've got a lot of questions for you. So we'll be right back with more of Open Up with Don and Tina.
Hi, I'm Christy from the Taste of Home Cooking School, and I'm coming to your town. I'd like to bring you into the kitchen for 2 hours of cooking fun. At our cooking school show, I'll demonstrate a variety of recipes you can make at home. Your whole family will love them. You'll also get to meet with fun local vendors, taste delicious samples, and share your love of good food. So get into the mix, grab your friends, get your tickets, and come join us.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
I'm Lisa Kirsch. Be sure to join us every Wednesday for Be Well Live. We'll cover the latest trends and health news featuring reporters from the Bakersfield Californian. Plus, special guests will stop by with news and health events. Plus, the editors of Be Well and Bakersfield Life magazines will be joining us to give us updates on what we can expect in those publications. Remember, Be Well Live every Wednesday from 10 to 11 o'clock right here on Bakersfield.com. You can also catch us on demand at BeWellMagazine.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Every morning, I get to come to work here. We talk about the news, we talk about the community, and most importantly, we have fun. You can listen to us live every morning from 7 to 10 on News Talk 1180 KERN, but you can also watch the video live at Bakersfield.com. You can't miss us because you can watch or listen live on your mobile device. Join us from 7 to 10 a.m. weekday mornings right here at News Talk 1180 KERN or at Bakersfield.com. Come have fun with us.
And welcome back to Open Up with Don and Tina.
We have as our guest today Ken Berman, who is the CEO of Terrio Fitness and Physical Therapy. But it's his passion about fatherhood that we're really interested in. He's really opening up to us about his deep concerns. Ken, I have read a psychological study some years ago that says for that boy or that young man whose father is absent, either physically or emotionally, that young man will grow up always feeling half annihilated inside. There's just this big, aching, empty gap in that young man. What has your studies shown you?
Definitely, the research is starting to prove that children, both boys and girls, need a father in the home, both emotionally, just the physical development, just the mentor, the one to look up to, especially young men. It's definitely prevalent for young men to have that father figure in their life that they can model their behavior after. And I have 3 studies, and then the actual research on this topic is just endless in terms of the drug addiction, alcohol abuse, teenage pregnancy, crime rates skyrocket. All these studies that when a father isn't present in the kid's home, suddenly they start to have behavioral issues. All those types of things are very real. The research shows it. And I kind of want to go back to the idea that children look up to some sort of idol. And if the father's not there, they're going to find somebody else to look up to. And a lot of times it is in the form of professional athletes. And this goes right along with what you're talking about. I want to talk about Chipper Jones, Hall of Fame baseball player for the Atlanta Braves, okay? He retired after playing 19 seasons in Major League Baseball. Sports Illustrated did a total article on him once he retired, and they're asking him, what are you going to do now? And he said, well, I have 4 children, ages 16 all the way down to 7. And for far too long, I have been a part-time father, so I'm looking forward to being a full-time father. And I thought, that's a catchy phrase that he just threw out there, but I think something's wrong there. The job has to be being a full-time father and then fill in the rest with what other time you have in the day. And I feel bad for his kids because his 4 kids, I think, grew up without a dad that was there every single day. So while probably thousands of kids, me being one of them, looked up to Chipper Jones when you're little about he's a great baseball player, his own kids at the home probably felt like, boy, I wish dad was home a little more. And there's example after example. Tony Gonzalez, future Hall of Famer tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, played 16 years, was going to decide, should I retire this year or not? He met with his 12-year-old son. He said, son, what do you think? Should I retire or should I continue to play one more year? His son said, I kind of think that maybe it's time to retire. Ultimately, Tony Gonzalez decides to play one more year. You know what his son was most mad about? His son was 12 years old. His dad had never seen him play one football game.
Oh, wow.
Okay, then you have the other extreme, which is Joe Montana. I love Joe Montana. I love the San Francisco 49ers. Joe Montana had a great career. In Super Bowl 40 in 2006, the NFL decided to bring back every single former NFL Super Bowl MVP. Joe Montana, of course, was invited at being a 3-time Super Bowl MVP. He had been long retired. They invited him to show up, and he didn't come. And the newspapers ran rampant that, Joe Montana didn't come because he was requesting an enormous fee. He wanted the NFL to pay him to go out to Detroit to attend this game, blah, 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 blah. When it was all said and done, when it came down to it, the reason Joe Montana did not attend that event is because he said, my son had a basketball game that day, and I have missed far too many of my son's activities.
Good for him.
And he stayed home and he did that. And Sports Illustrated did a cover with him. On the cover, it said, Daddy's home. It was a picture of him with his family and his kids. It's just a great moment of somebody recognizing, family has to come first. Enough is enough. We have to put the next generation before anything else.
Before we went on the air, if I can interject here, I was sharing with Ken a story, and he asked me to bring it up, and that is, I was watching a documentary on Frontline, one of the major documentary shows, and it was about the meanest man in California's prisons. And as they were bringing him into the interview area, I mean, his hands were shackled, his feet were shackled, he could barely shuffle. They had 2 men with shotguns in front of him, backing up. They had 2 men with shotguns behind him when they got there. I mean, that's how dangerous they felt this man was. And during the interview, he was just the hardest, most hard-bitten, unrepentant killer that you can imagine, until the interviewer said, tell me about your father. And that man on the air broke down and wept for the lack of a father in his life. What would you say to that, Ken?
That's a unfortunate situation, but it's becoming more and more common. And Sesame Street has decided to create a new character. You know what his name is? His name is Alex. You know why they created him? Alex character has a father that's in prison. And Sesame Street decided that because right now in America, 1 out of every 28 children has a current father in prison. 1 in 28. 25 years ago, that number was 1 in 125. In 25 years, we've dropped it all the way down to 1 in 28. But because of this problem that's now becoming more and more common for our children growing up with a father that's incarcerated, Sesame Street creates a character that can talk about some of the issues that he's having growing up with his father in prison. I applaud Sesame Street for reaching out and trying to address the issue, but it's appalling to me that as a society, this is how far we've come. That now Sesame Street has to have a character whose dad is in prison because this is becoming the norm.
So what do we do? What can we do, Ken?
Well, I listened to the first segment with Dr. Allen. He was talking about faith a lot, putting faith in God. I personally believe that is the number one way to go about it, is to tie people back into the idea that there is a certain family culture that needs to exist in America. A lot of it, the outline of how to accomplish that is outlined in the Bible. It's the Bible mentions the word father 1,500 times. It's referenced more than any other thing in the Bible. And I'll tell you, my personal favorite verse, the verse that drives me as a father, the verse that makes me want to be the greatest dad I possibly can be, is in John 5:19. Jesus was talking to John, and he said, "Very truly I tell you, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can only do what he sees his Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does." So if you're a father and you're not even there for your son, what's he going to do? He has nobody to look up to. He has no one to learn how to behave, and he has no one to talk to at night, no one to help him with this schooling and reading and all the things that children need to grow up and be productive citizens of society, but they have nobody to look up to. And the Bible is telling us that the son can only do what he sees his father doing. Right? So not only do I need to be present in my son's life, but I need to be living my life in a way that he can look up to, and it's not going to be more hurtful. Because that's a whole nother set of issues, is there is a sector of society where fathers are present, but unfortunately it's rampant with alcohol abuse, physical abuse to the children, and that certainly is a whole other set of complex issues that come along with that.
Well, we ask everybody else to open up. For all you fathers out there that are feeling some guilt, in my job, for example, 17 years at Channel 29, I go to work at 3 in the afternoon. I get home at 1 in the morning. Josh is asleep when I get home. He's in school when I get up, so I miss him all week long. And then on the weekends, the station is asking me to MC or be out at special events. So I did my best. I'd take Josh along as a baby and hold him up while I was at the mic. But someone said to Josh one day, I don't know, he must have been about 10 or 11. He said, "Hey, Josh, you want to grow up and be an anchorman like your dad?" And he said, "No, I wouldn't get to spend enough time with my family."
Oh.
Yeah.
So luckily he had a good mother
Sure.
that got him through. But I think all of us fathers, in trying to provide for our families, are caught up in schedules and sometimes make it difficult to be with our sons and daughters in the way we want to be.
And it is a tough decision that you have to make. And I'm not saying there's one that's right or wrong. I will say that along the lines of how do we fix this, I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done at the legislative level. They need to put this at the forefront of and spend time and energy instead of talking about gun control or violence or drug abuse or poverty and all these other things. If they spent a lot of time talking about how do we fix this problem of fathers being absent in the home, the rest would follow. All those other things would follow if they could fix that on the home front. And me personally, I've thought about going into politics. I told you earlier that I was a political science major, maybe one day running for office at some levels in my future. The problem with that is right now, I know a lot of politicians, and they're just not home a lot. They're always going to dinners. They're up in Sacramento, or if you're on the national level, you're in Washington, D.C. is where you live, and then you fly home when you have time off to be with your family. That's not the lifestyle that I've chosen for myself right now. The future might change once the kids get bigger, but every father has to make those types of decisions and weigh the pros and cons for themselves.
Well, Ken, maybe Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher are your models. Their children are grown. They waited till that time of their life was over and then went in and made their major contribution to their nations and to the world.
Ronald Reagan was not a bad thing to be compared to, so I appreciate that.
So you're saying you want to run for president one day?
One day,
Why not?
Why not? I'm
Why not?
27 now, so you have to
Yeah.
be at least 35. So I have
Yes,
some time
yes.
to get my things in order.
Okay, Ken, I've heard it said that there's a difference between a father and a dad. What's your thought on that?
That's a great question. They say, how does the saying go? It's anybody can become a father, but not everybody can be a father. And there's that balance there that it is very, very true that it doesn't take a lot in this world to become a parent, but it takes a lot to be a parent.
Yeah.
It is a constant, literally, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
My wife is my hero, but I will tell you, she is also a registered nurse. She works per diem every other weekend at the Heart Hospital. So for every other Saturday for 12 hours, she's at work, and guess who's at home with all 3 kids all by himself for 12 straight hours?
And enjoying it,
and
too.
enjoying every minute, but also loving it when she comes home.
Ken Berman, you are a great member of this community. We are so proud to have you as part of this community. You're already making enormous contributions to our city and our county, to our cultural life. A brand new member of Downtown Rotary. We're proud to have you in that club. So we just wish you Godspeed in all that you do, and I hope many can come along beside you and make this a real cause to support and help and turn this society in a new direction, because it certainly needs to go in a new direction, doesn't it?
Yes,
Absolutely. And I
yes.
appreciate you guys very much for giving me the time to come on and talk with you this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Take us out.
Okay, so we are going out. We'll be back, and we hope you would join us.
We'll talk more about fathers.
Yes. Marcy England joining us.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Christy from the Taste of Home Cooking School, and I'm coming to your town. I'd like to bring you into the kitchen for 2 hours of cooking fun. At our cooking school show, I'll demonstrate a variety of recipes you can make at home. Your whole family will love them. You'll also get to meet with fun local vendors, taste delicious samples, and share your love of good food. So get into the mix, grab your friends, get your tickets, and come join us.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the Bi-Monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
I'm Lisa Kirsch. Be sure to join us every Wednesday for Be Well Live. We'll cover the latest trends and health news featuring reporters from the Bakersfield Californian. Plus, special guests will stop by with news and health events. Plus, the editors of Be Well and Bakersfield Life magazines will be joining us to give us updates on what we can expect in those publications. Remember, Be Well Live every Wednesday from 10 to 11 o'clock right here on Bakersfield.com. You can also catch us on demand at BeWellMagazine.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Every morning, I get to come to work here. We talk about the news, we talk about the community, and most importantly, we have fun. You can listen to us live every morning from 7 to 10 on News Talk 1180 KERN, but you can also watch the video live at Bakersfield.com. You can't miss us because you can watch or listen live on your mobile device. Join us from 7 to 10 a.m. weekday mornings right here at News Talk 1180 KERN or at Bakersfield.com. Come have fun with us.
Welcome back, everybody, to Open Up with Don and Tina. And one of the things that Tina and I really discussed that we wanted to do on our program is we wanted to open this program up to any of you, all of you, who may want to come on and share a word of encouragement, uplift, inspiration, and we call it Good Words for the Coming Week. And so we have a very special guy standing right now. His name is Jim Baldwin. Many of you know him. Jim is the CEO of BARC, doing amazing things with our retarded citizens out there. He has the whole nation looking to Bakersfield's BARC as a model of the way we give the most wonderful opportunities to these people for growth and development. So, Jim, we're going to toss it to you and give us some good words for the coming week.
Today, let's talk about Shift Happens. Shift happens. You and I, for decades, have been reading books about paradigm shifts, about thinking outside the box, about get outside the 9 dots, yada, yada, yada. Let's talk a little bit, a little higher. That's kind of a 10,000-foot view. Let's go up to about 40,000, and let's take a look. Shift happens. Things happen all the time. It's not constant. It's moving around. Whether it moves positive or whether it's moving negative in our life, in our family, at work, at church, at the club, wherever, it's moving. And a greater understanding is having that 40,000-foot view of saying, how do we make this stuff shift positively in our lives for our families, our friends, and our acquaintances, and the people that we spend most of our day with as we spend 8+ hours a day at work. Let's talk about that. Let me give you a couple examples. How many of you have seen maybe the homeless person on the street, walking through the alleys, walking down the street, looking into every single trash receptacle, pulling out recyclables, and say to yourself something that may not be totally positive? I have. I had to check myself. Here's a person that is going through our trash at night, along with several others. They're pulling out things that would have gone to the landfill. They're then taking them, putting them in a bag, taking them to a BARC recycling center and saying, can you please pay me for these recyclables? This is my job. I'm a homeless person. This is not going to go to the landfill on my watch. And they get some money. And every time they get some money from that, then they're not asking you and I for that dollar on the street. The panhandling goes down. Is that an incredible example of seeing things a little bit different? It was for me. It changed my life when I began to think about how things in my life are always constantly changing and how my view needs to bump up. The Bible didn't talk a whole lot about patience. Preachers preach about it a lot. Patience is a byproduct. The book of Proverbs talks about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. There's lots of books out there on knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Understanding is the hardest one of those. We can all make mistakes and get wisdom from those mistakes, can't we? We can read. We can go to school and get great things from school. But getting that understanding, moving up a little few thousand feet higher to understand why things are happening, produces patience in our lives, gives us a different view in our lives. Apply that not just to work, not just to family, not just to the people at the clubs and at the church. Apply it to yourself. Begin to take a different look, understanding that shift happens. It'll either shift negatively or it'll shift positively, but you and I are the ones that can help make that happen with the good Lord's help, of course. I hope this helped you today. God bless you, everyone.
Jim Baldwin, what a talented guy. What a
Yes.
special man, and what a great leader of Bark here in our community. Jim, thanks so much for coming on. And again, we extend that invitation to any of you out there that really feel you've got something you want to share that you know would uplift people, help people, encourage people. We need that these days.
Yes,
And
yes.
we keep forgetting to tell people how to contact us. Chris, can you, Chris McCullough, our producer, can you throw up that Chiron? I think it's that gives our, oh, there it is behind us.
Yes.
Open up. There we go. Just drop us a note. P.O. Box 2888. Isn't that a cool address? We got that down the main post office there. And 93303. We got a nice post office box right down by the window where the
Yes,
gal does
just
it.
walk right in the door, and there it is. So we look forward to hearing from you. And I want to thank all of our studio audience today. We have some beautiful people in here. We got a beautiful person from Minnesota. Her name is Jody Engen, and we've got, I just had to call your name out. And we got Erica, Pastor Fernando, and Pastor Stella. But we have a beautiful guest, and also we have Harold Rodriguez over there. But we have our guest here, Don. Look at this.
Not our guest, our co-host.
Our co-host,
This
yes.
Is, when you're not here, she's here,
This
or
is-
sometimes both of you, and so I get blessed.
Yes, or as you call the mini-me.
Yeah, the mini-me.
The mini-me of Tina Miller.
I am so delighted.
What
This-
did you think so far of what you've heard today from Dr. Allen and from Ken Berman?
Yes.
You know, great, wonderful show today.
Thank you.
Very blessed to be a part of it. Dr. Allen, I loved absolutely everything he said. My mother has experienced something very similar to Dr. Allen, where she has gone through some health problems in the past, and she has really relied on the Lord and healthy eating, nutrition, and it has really pulled her through. And so when he was speaking, I felt like I was talking to my mom almost, where I really connected with what he has to say, what he had to say, and I really do truly believe that the Lord will bless when you do believe. And healthy eating is such a huge part of today's world. And my mom and I actually just started a health business, and so I was really impressed with him. And then as far as Kenny, Kenny's actually been a longtime friend of my best friend, Brittany Wieges. And so when I saw him today, I thought, oh, it's so great to see you, Kenny. And then when he started talking, I was so impressed with his information.
Yes.
I was so impressed with his knowledge about being so young, too, only being 27.
Right.
And with his knowledge about fatherhood and where he would like to see himself in the future. Really impressive young man. I thought the
Yes.
whole entire show today was excellent.
And
Well, I'm
again,
sorry, go
so
ahead.
young. I just wanted to add,
Yes.
so young.
So young.
Marcy, you've turned into such a wonderful young woman. Tell us about your father.
Thank you so much. I am the woman I am today because of my mother and father, and they give all the credit to prayer. My mother and father are very spiritual people, and I have such distinct memories as a child growing up with my father. He never missed church. Never. Even when my mom was, as I said earlier, had health problems, she was unable to go. Even when we had decided to stay home with mom, it was never an option. I could count on one hand in my 30 years of life how many times my father has missed church, and he's been extremely active. And I know that was a huge blessing to my sister and I, even though we might not have wanted to get up super early and get ready and go to church. We knew it wasn't necessarily an option because we knew that my mom and dad collectively, this is a choice that they made for our family, that we were going to be attending church. And it was a huge blessing to be able to have parents so spiritual and so grounded.
Tina, your father, or lack of.
Yes. My dad, I like to call him, because I didn't know him. He passed away when I was a year old. And so the only thing I knew of him was that he was from the West Indies and loved my mom and the rest of the children. Out of 9, I'm number 8.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah, but I didn't know him, so I grew up without a father. My mom did not remarry, And we're all 9 are from the same dad. And but as I grew older and joined the Navy, I had some military supervisors who watched over me, should I say. And then the latest one was Dr. William Henry Blood in Los Angeles. He's the one that came to Bakersfield and gave me away to Robert. So that he was the closest thing to a father to me.
And what difference did that make in your life? What did that add to your life?
The absence of the father, or having Dr. Block?
Like Dr. Block.
Oh,
a man like that.
Just, I don't even have words for that, Don, because it was the last few years of his life, actually, and it's something I'll cherish and hold dear for as long as I live.
You know, talking about my dad, there's so much good I can say about my dad. He was an outstanding athlete, led college and high school teams to undefeated seasons as quarterback, taught me how to be a quarterback. But one thing I have to just confide about my dad is that he had a dark side to him, and there was a cutting edge to the way he treated my mother. And my mother confided that pain in me, and I had to carry her pain with me. And so I've kind of learned how to evaluate men. I look in their wives' eyes, and if I see pain, I know a lot about that man. And if I see a glow, I know she's got a good man. So anyway, those are all of our experiences, and
Donna, a little quick thing. I thought quickly about our dear friend Chuck Noss, who is a dad and a father, but we didn't get our drink today.
Oh, we'll go right down to the health market and
We're
get that.
coming there.
All right.
Nature's Food Market and Juice
Yes,
Bar,
Nature's Food Market and Juice Bar.
1819 G Street.
You bet.
Thanks to all our guests, everyone looking and watching and listening, and the live studio audience.
Good night.
See you next time.
Goodbye. It's not good night.